Hey guys, it's me, Kisa. While we're in this quarantine, I figured it's never too late for us to learn how to make essentials at home. And for me, one of my staples, one of my favorites, you guessed it right, it's rice. How many of you do not know how to make rice without a rice cooker? I've actually lived without a rice cooker for a number of years. And I'm actually gonna read this to you. This is a little pack of basmati rice that I picked up from Trader Joe's. And it basically says, for softer rice, use 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water. For firmer rice, use 1 cup to 1¼ cups of water.
Say what?
What I learned from my Filipino kitchen is the best way to figure out your rice to water ratio is actually by using this. I mean, actually, it's this, the flip side of your finger. If this is kind of where you have your rice leveled off, you want to take your finger to the topmost part and fill it with water up to the first line of your finger. And that's the way that I make rice. I mean, I'm shocked that people don't already know this. All right, ready to make some rice with me? Let's do this. So I've measured out around a cup of rice, and right now we're just going to rinse this out, just like this. So once you have the water in, you just kind of want to give it a swirl and then toss the rice water. Then we'll do that again. Rinse, 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 and toss. Now we're done with cleaning our rice, so the next step is to put in the final level of water that we're gonna use to cook our rice. I've filled this pot with water, and as you can see, the rice is nice and level, so I'm just gonna show you that when I stick the finger into the rice, the water literally comes up to this line. So Filipino measuring cup says we are good to go. Cover this with a lid. Turn on your stove or your burner midway. The one thing that you shouldn't do is make your burner too hot or too low, because if the heat is up too high, you're gonna end up burning the bottom too much and it's not really gonna cook enough. And then if it's too low, then it's gonna take you forever to make your rice. And honestly, I don't even know if it'll cook through. But another thing too is always keep the lid on the pot, because closing that will help the steam kind of stay in the pot, and it'll give you yummier rice, fluffier rice, and it'll just basically cook better. Trust me on this one. You want to watch out for when the water starts to boil, because that's going to mean that we're going to our next step. We are boiling! All right, at this point, you just want to turn your heat down a little bit and let that simmer for around 15 minutes. So from time to time, when the water starts rising up, you're just gonna wanna check, see how it's going in there. Hear a little bit of a sizzle. You can run a fork in. We're gonna test this, see how it is. It's almost there, but there's still a little bit too much liquid for me. So I'm gonna leave it in for maybe another 2 to 3 minutes and see how that goes. Okay guys, it looks like our rice is ready to go. So if you take a look at this, it's nice and fluffy. You can fork through it and you can see that this is ready to be eaten.
Oh, hell no!
A lot of people will just want to eat this plain, like especially if you're eating Filipino food that's really saucy. But if you want to flavor this really easily, you could also throw in a couple slices of butter, salt it a little bit, and you're good to go. But here's a little bonus. Next up, we're making my super favorite rice that's a little bit fancy, a little bit Indian inspired, and literally you can eat it all on its own. It's pretty fucking terrible. We are gonna need some cumin seeds, some turmeric powder, some saffron, garlic, ginger, some rice, and this is actually some homemade ghee, but you can totally sub it for butter if you don't have any. And this is a secret ingredient. I really love these curry leaves because it just has this kind of like really nice nutty flavor. And apparently when you eat them, they're supposed to be really good for your hair. Anytime you see these, be sure to get a bag and you can totally freeze it and use it anytime you want. All right, we're going to start by melting a little bit of of ghee or butter. And when that melts, you're going to add 1 or 2 cloves worth of garlic, a bit of ginger. I like ginger though, so let's get it on. Mix some cumin seeds, this much I guess, and some turmeric. Turmeric is really good for you. It has these anti-inflammatory properties, so you just kind of want to combine all of this together. Okay guys, once this really starts to get really nice and fragrant like it is right now, you want to take your raw basmati rice, toss that in, and just coat it a little bit. Get all of the flavors into your rice. Let me show you what it looks like. Oh my goodness! Smells so good! And you're gonna wanna put a couple strands of saffron into this. This is some Persian saffron, which is actually my favorite. So literally like just a little bit is gonna go a really, really long way. Oh my God, this is like gold, so I'm putting that in there too. This smells like heaven. And then we're gonna put in water. How much water, you ask? Well, let's do a finger test. So it should come to around that part. This is perfect. Like my measuring cup? Yeah, I like it too. The last things to go in before we cover this up is a little bit of salt. Don't start too crazy. You know, you can always add it, but if it's super salty, it's really difficult to fix that. So, you know, the more you practice with like salting things, I think it gets easier to eyeball it. But after that, we're gonna add these frozen curry leaves. I think I'm gonna be putting in around 10 of these leaves today. Is that 10? Okay, then we're gonna give this a nice stir. And then, you know the drill. We're going to put a lid on it, watch it till it boils, and then we're gonna turn down the heat just like before. So when you guys check midway to see how your rice is doing, don't be afraid to add a little bit of water if you need to, if you feel like it needs a little bit more cooking. And don't forget to keep seasoning to taste. Don't be afraid to throw in a little bit more salt if you feel like you need some, and just be sure that you mix it all together so that the flavors are evenly combined. All right, guys, the moment of truth.
Oh my God!
Oh my God, it's so good. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you make your rice at home the Filipino way with no measuring cups and just your fingers, be sure to tag me on Instagram. Stay safe, wash your hands often, and enjoy your quarantine and chill. See ya!